Welcome to MD Wealth Fortress presents The Classroom. Today, we have an electrifying couple that has been very instrumental in the art of educating those in financial literacy, but more importantly, in the knowledge of insurances, in particularly Index Universal Life, which is other known as IULs. We use IULs in our particular strategy for the infinite banking concepts. And we thought that this would be something that you would like to know as well too, because this is how we move money around the board. So today we have James and Maxcien Ferguson, and they are very knowledgeable in this space, and they have been for a long time. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we'll get into the classroom questioning them on policies and insurance procedures. James and Maxcien, introduce yourself, James.
Well, good morning, everyone. I would allow my wife to introduce herself first because, I don't have the same contract that some people have. So I'm going to allow her to introduce herself first.
Good morning, everyone. I am Maxcien Ferguson, and I am a proud world system builder dealing in the financial education aspect.
All right. And my name is James Ferguson. I'm not only a pastor, but I am a proud world system builder. And together, my wife and I, we teach financial literacy.
Excellent, 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 excellent. First of all, tell us what type of financial literacy do you teach?
Well, you want to deal with that one?
Okay, actually, we educate people on how money works, because it's better for your money to be working for you than for you to be working for it. Because after you work for money all your life, you work hard for that. Why not put your money to work for you? So we educate you on doing that.
Yes, we do. We teach the rules of money. I tell people all the time when I'm sitting with them, there's rules for everything. And if you don't know the rules to a game, you already lost that game. You can't go out there and take football rules and apply it to basketball. It will not work. And it's the same thing with money. If you don't know the rules of money, then you already lost the money game.
Excellent, excellent. So what are some of the rules of money? What should
Well,
we know in this space?
well, that rule is called the rule of 72 to start with.
Okay.
And then
What?
what you do with the rule of 72, you take 72 and you divide it by any interest rate, and it will tell you how long your money will double, how long it would take for your money to double.
But now on the flip side, it will also tell you how fast your debt is going to double.
Agreed, 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 agreed. So now with that said, you represent a company. What is that company called?
Well, my wife and I, we have our own company, or our own team called Team Fergie that you can check out on Facebook. It's Team Fergie WSFG.
WSB.
WSB. Okay, there we go. And that team, though, is WFG, World Financial Group.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And your specialty in that is not only literacy, but what else do you carry as a product line for that service that you provide?
Well,
Well, we provide numerous product on our platform. We have over 300 product on our platform, even though we ourselves are not actually licensing all of them, which we are doing at the moment. But we do carry a line of different insurance product, term, whole life. But the IUL is our specialty. We also, deal with, helping people to actually turn over if they have 401k, they can
Mhm.
actually roll that over, so we deal with annuities and, different investments and stuff like that. But that's something, for another time.
Excellent, excellent.
Yes, there's so many products that we do have, as my wife said. We just written up a couple days ago, even final expense, because the
Mhm.
person was not able to qualify for an IUL or any other product, but they did wanted something for their burial. So we're able to provide you with a vast array
Mhm.
of products that could help you now and in the future.
Excellent, excellent. Well, obviously, I'm biased because I like IULs, right? But that's just me. Tell me a little about, and some of the class members in here, what is an IUL?
Well, an IUL is an index universal life.
Mhm.
And although it is a high yielding product, it mirrors the market, but it's not in the market. So therefore, you can get a very high return. And as we said earlier with the rule of 72, you want a high return on your money. And what the bank does is in your checking and savings account, they will give you, let's round it off to 1 penny.
Mhm.
72 divided by 1 is 72. So now if you had $1, it would take 72 years for that $1 to become 2.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now on the
Excellent.
flip side, they will give you a high interest rate or something, let's say 30% on your credit cards. Well, 72 divided by 30 is 2.4.
Mhm.
And if that's the case, their money is doubling every 2.4 years, where your debt now is doubling every 2.4 years.
And so with the IUL is something that you can use while you are alive. You can
Mhm.
use the face amount, and you can actually assign a portion of that. If you have a business, you can assign a portion of that to your business instead of going to the bank to get a loan. Also, let's say in the event if you were to get sick and you cannot work, they would give you 2% of the face amount for chronic illness. But if you become terminally ill, you would get 90% of that face amount for you to be able to live on and pay your bill and do whatever you need to do in your last phase of life. So the
Mhm.
IUL is really specially designed, for people who want to use their money while they are alive.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that's exactly what we do in our club as well. We have a system where we call it the financial machine operating system that's composed of four areas. One is the dividend play, one is the velocity banking, and the next one is the infinite banking. And then obviously we have the trading as the last part. But the infinite banking concepts were designed by Nelson Nash. And it was him that trained us on how to move money through the insurance policies in order to create that cash flow. Are you finding many individuals leveraging these same insurance policies like we're using them?
No,
Or, okay.
because a lot of people they not educated, so they
Hmm.
not aware of what the IUL can do for them. And
Hmm.
so because they're not aware, they tell you, "Oh, I am good." And so they're not leveraging it the way that they should, and they are skeptical.
Hmm.
Let me put it that way. They're
Yeah.
skeptical, and they do not want to, to even give you the time to even educate them on that.
Uh-huh.
I just want to throw in, we know someone who was very skeptical at first when
Mhm.
we spoke to them. And, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's me, right?
I didn't call any names.
You didn't have to.
Yeah, yeah. Now
I
I
did
was
not call any name,
no,
but
and I
we
was
do know someone who was skeptical, and
yeah.
they saw the performance,
Hmm.
and they went on ahead and just started getting it for their whole family and leveraging it inside their business.
Yeah. Now, I was skeptical because I had to go get educated on this stuff. I had to go to, I remember the laser focus group with Anderson. So I listened to him quite a bit on YouTube. I listened to Chris Noggle, also talking about a similar concept, a different product, but a similar concept. And then I had to go through and understand all the pros and cons of this IUL. And there was a lot of skepticism out there in terms of why is IUL getting a bad name? And so I wanted to learn what that was before we made the initial investment. So it took me a little minute. So yeah, I was a little skeptical. But but how do you guys overcome that level of skepticism as it relates to these IULs?
Well, what we say is we're continuing to educate, but we understand that certain people may not be ready at that time. And
Mhm.
because they're not ready, we allow them to go do their research or whatever. And then we will get a phone call eventually saying that, they would love to do something inside that space.
But we
Excellent.
also continue to go on to the next person because the next individual might be more open,
Hmm.
to hear what you have to say. And so we don't just stop at that one no. So we continually, you know, um, to go on and get other people's opinion or get them to understand, what it is that we are offering.
The
Yeah.
education is free, so we just give the education. We don't actually be expecting anyone to do anything, but we allow you to get the information so that you can make the best choice that you could possibly make at the end.
Well, I'll just add in here in that we got three separate policies for our family. We got one from, um, I think it's an insurance company in Texas. We got another one from an insurance company in Atlanta. And then we got one from Transamerica, which is a company that you guys represent. And when we do the analysis every month, we see that Transamerica is beating every last other insurance carrier in our policy. And when we call the other guys up and say, hey, 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 what happened? How come Transamerica beating you? Their thing, what they normally say is, oh, they must have changed their policies, right? However, one of the favorite tools in this space in understanding the differences between an IUL as well as whole life and everything else, you got to fund your IULs so that you don't deplete. There's a certain cost metrics with an IUL, but over time, you get into profitability a lot faster compared to all of the other policies, and it creates a higher interest rate. So I think in our policies, we're getting something anywhere near between 12 and 14%, and our floor is about 1%. So there again, no matter what the market is doing, we always have a floor in our policies so that we don't lose value. The skepticism in the IUL space is just that. A lot of individuals sign up for an IUL policy, but a lot of them didn't know exactly what they were signing up for. And at the end of their lifetime, they're looking for their monies and there's nothing there. Why? Because they never overfunded their policies. And there are differences. Maxine had explained the differences to me as to what was the difference between levered and a non-levered policy. Maxine, talk a little about what is levered in the IUL policy, because I found out that that made the difference.
Um, when it comes to, the policy, but the level benefit, the your premium never go up. Uh,
Hmm.
and it's at a level, but then you
Yeah.
have decreasing as
Hmm.
well as increasing. So with the increasing, if you do increasing, at the end of the day, you're not gonna have any money because it's gonna take away, from what you have,
Mhm.
eventually. And
Yeah.
then you have decreasing, which you don't want because everything is gonna decrease. So you don't
Hmm.
want that in your policy.
So sometimes these agents has hit the wrong button and you pay the price because of it. Now, I'll share with you how I'm using the IUL that's different. Everyone's going to have a wrapper on theirs. However, these particular IULs that I purchased from Transamerica, they have a rider on them for elderly care provider for when my family get up there. If we didn't have a provision for that, there's a rider in the policy that naturally gives us that option for elderly care. Now, that's not the reason why we got the policy. The policy, what made it such an advantageous benefit to us was because if you're living in the United States and you're contemplating a large distribution of cash through your life insurance policies, which the IUL is in that category, you can be subject to what's called a state inheritance tax. And depending on the state that you live in, you could be subject to about 50% of that distribution. Now, I know that I'm going to be in this space for a while. And even though I'm living in the state of Florida, currently the state of Florida doesn't have one. However, that doesn't mean that legislation wouldn't change the laws without me knowing or me being aware over the years. So I want to protect myself and my family from giving away a portion of the inheritance tax over to the state. What does that mean? Let's say we're getting $40 million. And let's say that your cap on your insurance policy for your state is 20 million. Anything above the limitation for your state is shared with the state. So if we're in that 50% category and you're receiving $40 million in your insurance policy, you got to share $10,000 with the state before you enjoy the proceeds. Now, the lawyers that I go to, they had to sit with me and educate me and understand how do I protect the state inheritance portion of any of the life insurance policies. Well, one of the things that they showed us was yes, we started off with a revocable trust, but we also created a pillar on top of that um, for the irrevocable trust. And the proceeds of our insurances will go to the irrevocable trust. Now, what does that mean? That means that because it's irrevocable and we don't own it and we don't control it, that means the state can't get it. So that's what that means. Now that the state can't get it, how does my family access it? Well, within our family office structure, we have a corporation that's structured with a board that oversees that particular trust in order to distribute that according to the trust documents and what their board mandate is. And our board mandate is that our kids are never supposed to touch the money. Right? So if my kids think they getting something, they tell a lie. They ain't getting nothing upon my demise. What they getting is access to capital, but they cannot eat the seed of the capital. Meaning, if we get $50 million in our irrevocable trust, they can't touch that. What they can touch, though, is 10% of the money. So each one of them can touch 5 million. They can actually put that into a business that the board will oversee. And yeah, if they default on the loan, the board will start foreclosure proceedings on where they put the money. And then they have to present the board with a business plan, a financial projection, the same as they would do with a bank. And we set up that board with individuals in mind with those specialties involved so that as the kids borrow the money, Now, where they put the money, whether it be in real estate or acquiring businesses, those businesses that they acquire can then pay them a salary. That's the fruit of where they planted the seed. Hence, they can also restructure their very same family trust as we've structured our family trust. And that's one of the mechanisms that we're using to leverage the IUL. Now, that's upon death. Now, whilst I'm alive, we are structuring access to the cash flow of the IULs so that that monies can go into our dividend structure. And every month, the premium that's paid from the dividend pays the premium for the loan proceeds of the IUL. So that's how we're using an IUL. And that gives you a basic structure of why that is so important, because now we should not have to worry about where the money is coming from when we're getting 65 and 70 in terms of paying these things. I'm not going to have the same amount of energy at 65 and 70 that I did at 20, 30, and 40. So as many pools of revenue that I can establish myself with, it gives me the best opportunity. And one of these things that Maxine didn't touch on is the talk about the time frame of how long do I have to pay this IUL for?
Well, we normally set it up to age 67
Mm-hmm.
that you have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's, let's say, if you started in the 50s or before 50s.
Mm-hmm.
But if you started at let's say you start at age 65 or something like that, we would
Mm-hmm.
set that up to age 82, so that
Okay.
by then you would, stop paying for that IUL, and the IUL will continue to pay for itself. And so
Excellent.
that's the beauty of it, that you do not have to pay for the whole of your life.
What
Mm-hmm.
we really like about it is the fact that as we get older, as you say, there's a lot of things that we can and can't do. We're limited, our health, whatever. But we always ask people, all right, you're 90 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to pay for your insurance, or would you like the company to pay for your insurance? You see, you have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so, therefore, this is one of the reasons why we don't really promote a whole life. Now, I mean, it's good for some people, but the truth about whole life is you'll be paying for the whole of your life. That's why they call it whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You'll pay for that until you're 99 years old. You're 99 years old, you might have an income, you might not, but who do you want to pay for that when you're 99? And that's what we really love about the IUL. And just to let you know also, wealthy people, how they leave an inheritance. When their child is 15 days old, they give them an IUL. So now when they turn 21, they get the tour Europe because they get some of that money. They
Mm-hmm.
get some, and it's still growing. It is steady growing.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the things that we educate people on, you see?
Yeah. Yeah. What I like also is the part that we didn't address is, and one of the things that I like is if I start this IUL payment process, there's a time that I can actually stop paying, which is about 7 years or so.
Ah,
But I don't, so I'm not obligated to pay after the 7 year time frame. But if I want to maximize the continuation of the very same policy, I still have the option to continue paying on as if I had the rest of time to escalate the payment higher.
Yeah,
Talk
that's
about
called
that.
the 7 pay,
Yep.
where you pay a certain amount every
Hmm.
year for 7 years, and after that 7 years,
you're done.
you done because you maxed it out. and it will
Mhm.
continue to grow without you having to put anything else in.
Yes, yes. So I like that about the policy. One of the other things that I like about the policy, I like about the policy in that if I continue to put money into this thing and it gets close to the death benefit, by law, the state, sorry, the insurance company have to move the death benefit higher.
Yes.
Yes.
Talk a little about that, Maxine.
Okay, well, if when you're maxing out your policy and you keep because this is a policy that you could continually to put more in, and that is why we do the CVAC, the cash value accumulation thing on the IUL so that you can dump more money in.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason why the debt benefit will go up because we don't want the policy to become a mech. Because
Mm-hmm.
once it become a mech, then now you have to pay taxes on anything else that is over and above that debt benefit. And
Mm-hmm.
so we do not allow our client, to go beyond that. So the debt benefit continue to rise as your cash value rises.
Can we just say free money? Free money,
Yeah.
free
Free
money.
money. Woohoo!
Yes.
Woohoo!
That's what I'm talking about. And and for those who don't understand
Make it
what a
rain. Make it rain, Mark.
that's why we're here. What is a MEC? MEC.
It's a modified endowment contract.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
which means if you, let's say you take out a policy
Mm-hmm.
and you take it out and it's very small, and now you decided that, hey, I got some money and I'm going to dump this money in there. So
Mm-hmm.
once you dump that money in there, it causes to become a MEC
Okay.
because you did not open your bucket wide enough to allow that overflow to come in.
So
Excellent.
anything that's over now, you will pay
Mhm.
taxes on. And so that's why, it's important for us as licensed agents to inform
The
the
client.
client of these things so that they can be aware.
Excellent. Excellent. No, man, I like it. So with this product now, I'm getting tax efficiency. I'm getting a vehicle that not only I could use whilst I'm alive, but also the investment in the long-term investment is going to supply my kids with a seed capital that they too can tap into later on. And
Now,
then
if I could say
go
what
ahead.
we like, there's so much that we really like about it because it is it is considered the Rolls Royce
Hmm.
of insurance policies.
Yep.
And one of the things that I like is that our ours come with certain riders, as you was talking about. It
Hmm.
comes with chronic,
Hmm.
critical,
Hmm.
okay? It comes with terminal.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
bonus,
Hmm.
if you get a policy that is over $250,000, it
Hmm.
comes with concierge service free of charge, no extra payment. What does that mean? That means that a company like Everest, it doesn't matter where in the world you are, if you expire, your family might say, we want the body shipped to Israel.
Hmm.
We want
Hmm.
to ship back to the Bahamas and we're somewhere else. That is done now for you, free of charge, no extra money. It is an added bonus to that IUL.
Okay, and I
Oh.
just want to add that with the IUL, it has growth,
Hmm.
which means your money is always growth.
Always.
It has
Hmm.
safety, which means it has a floor,
Hmm.
and also it has a cap of 14%. It has tax advantages, so when you take your money, you're not paying any taxes,
And
and it has protection meaning that somebody can sue you, but they cannot get your money. Uncle Sam cannot touch your money because you are protected and your asset is protected. And so
Uh,
that is what we like about the IUL.
All right, I see Dr. Gloria Ramanan have a question. You go first, and then we'll let Dr. Bob go. He has a question also. Go ahead, Dr. Ramanan.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
My question to you is you spoke about loans from the IUL. When you're paying back that loan, I know there's interest on that loan because it's a loan. Where does that repayment go to? Does it go to your account or to the insurance company? Off to you.
Okay. The good thing about our IULs is, first of all IULs are not structured the same because of the fact that we do so much volume as a group. We can get certain benefits. Now, when you applying for a loan, watch this now. If you're paying your premium, you don't have to pay back the loan.
Oh.
And also, I just want to state here that the loan payment is actually less than 2%. But if you've had your policy over 10 years, then the interest rate is 0%. So you don't pay any interest rate
Zero.
on that.
Somebody say that with me. Say
Yep.
zero.
Zero.
And
Zero.
like I said, you can pay it back if you wish to, but there is no pressure for you to actually pay that amount back.
As long as you're paying your premium, portion of that will go to the loan and portion will go toward the insurance, as well as your cash value can still go up because of the fact that you're getting interest compounded every month. Every month. And I can vouch for that. I'm sure Dr. Dames can
Yep.
vouch for that. He's
Yep.
getting interest
Yep.
every month.
Mm-hmm.
Every
Okay.
month.
A lot of people, as an educator, I did teach personal finance. A lot of people do not know what compounding interest is. You want to expound on that?
Oh, sure, we could.
Yeah. Well, compounding interest is actually, it's not simple interest. Simple interest, you get interest once a year. With compounding interest, that's interest every month. So let's say I have $40 in my account, and this month I get $20 interest. So now I have $60. So next month the interest will be based on the $60, and
Not
so
the
it will
40.
continue to go up and up and up. So it's always based on the amount that it's there, that's compounded. So it compounded every month, so that you be getting more and more. So as you look at your IUL, this month you might get $21. Next month, that amount is going to go up higher because the amount now is higher in your account.
Good job.
Excellent. Go ahead, Dr. Bob.
Oh, James and Maxine, thanks for this great information. I appreciate it. My question, you're welcome. My question is, you talked about an older person who, do they want to pay for their insurance, or do they want to have their corporation pay for the insurance? If the corporation is paying for the insurance, does the amount of the premium change, or is it still based on health status or whatever other parameters are used to issue the policy?
Okay, let's say that a person 65 wants to get something now, an older person. We will set that up for maybe 10, 20 years or something to that nature, basically. But what happens is that individual is paying, but at the same time, the interest is growing, so the money will still be growing for them. Now, On the flip side, when you're talking about the company paying, all right, the company pays with the interest. So now if you're not paying, that money is coming from what you have already accumulated. You see?
In the policy, right?
Yeah, it's coming from that. So what we do is we set up where if you run into difficulty, there is something called a minimum no lapse premium. So if you're paying, let's say $1,000, for example, a month, that minimum might be $500 now. You see? So it keeps the policy going, but it keeps it going only because you haven't established enough cash value in it yet. Let me give you a quick example. You plant a mango tree today. You can't expect the mango to produce trees or fruits for you tomorrow. You have to let it grow. And as you let that grow, then you'll receive many mangoes, not just that one tree now. You will get many mangoes or many fruits from that one tree. So you want it to grow. You want to allow it to grow so that it could do what it needs to do for you.
And
Let me
is there
just
is
say here, in terms of the company paying for the insurance, right? After 5 years with you paying into that policy, now the policy began to pay for itself because of the interest rate that is being built up every month. And so, yes, when if you were 65, we schedule your premium for you to be paying for that up to age 82, and after at age 82 then you stop paying the premium, and so everything will continue
To grow.
you will have the same the face value will continue to go up and everything like that because the interest rate is continually growing
For you, yes.
so does the interest rate always cover the premium, or can that change in the future where at some point the policy was paying the premium because of the interest, but then at some point it changed and the interest can't cover the premium, and then you have to make up the difference yourself? Is that a scenario that could happen?
Well, the interest will always come in. As we said earlier, there's a ceiling and a floor. You will never lose anything because the floor of it is 0.75%. So that's still higher than what the bank offers you every month. So now you'll be getting at least, that's the minimum now. This is what we call protection. You're not losing nothing. You're not losing your initial investment or premium or anything. That floor protects you from that. And now the ceiling is when things are good, then you will get up and above. So it will always pay. You won't have to actually come out of the pocket all the time. There may be a time when you have to, but it's only because of the fact that, as my wife said, that policy was new and you did not have the opportunity to allow it to build.
Understand.
stepped in here. That's why we educate our client and we tell them while you can overfund your policy.
Money.
Make sure you put more money into it because we structure it that way. That's the CVAT way where you can actually dump more money into your policy. Let's say if you were to come into some money, somebody might, pass away and they would leave you with thousands of dollars. You can dump, thousands of dollars into your policy.
Is there any
And
limit
so-
to what you can put in the policy?
Pardon?
Is there any limit to what you can put in the policy?
Yeah.
There is a limit
Yeah.
because you don't want to cause the policy to become a mess. But the once you're doing that, you will be guided and as to what you can dump in at that particular time, and then it will you will be privy to know exactly when you can put more money into it. Because we had a client actually, and she was putting in an extra $8,000 a month. And so the company
Stop her.
had to stop at a certain point, from putting money in. And then she wasn't able to put any money into a policy, let's say, for about 6 months.
No, it was longer.
And so
It was longer.
they told her when she would be able to start again, she
Yeah.
would only be able to put in $200 into
Okay.
that policy. So yes, the company actually they guide you as to what you can do, so not to make your policy a mess where you will pay taxes on it, when you take your money out, because
Right.
this policy is structured so that you pay no tax.
And one last thing, a good thing about it is once you overfund your IUL, you can open up another one.
And
Yeah,
what
You can
about?
open up another one.
I heard Dr. Dames talking about getting policies for kids, and you also mentioned that too. Um, is that a good strategy for kids who are, let's say, teenagers or young adults in their 20s?
Yes. You can start that child off at 15 days. I'm just going to share what I did with one of my granddaughters because I'm funding her IUL. We started when she was 6 months. She's 10 years old now. All right. When she turns 15, I'm going to pull some money out. I'm going to buy her a car. I'm going to let her drive to school like little rich kids. Okay. She's going to drive to school. For those 4 years, I'm not going to touch it again. When she finished high school, I'm going to ask her, where do you want to go to school? If she gets a scholarship, that's fine. If she doesn't, I'm going to pay for college. I'm going to pay for college. So now when she comes out of college, she has no college debt. The IUL is still growing.
Yeah, nice.
Here it is now. Now, she doesn't have to put another penny into it once she turns 16.
Gotcha.
Because we structured it from the age of 6 months, she'll pay until she's about 16, 17. She don't have to put another, well, I wouldn't have to put another penny into it.
Right.
But she's set for the rest of her life, and it keeps growing. It keeps growing. Right now, she has more money than a lot of adults, and we educate her. So she knows how to spend it. She's not going buying a bunch of shoes and purses and accessories to match her 10-year-old outfits.
There you go. Hey, well, listen, thanks, James and Maxcien, for answering all my questions. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, that's such a pleasure to hear. The one thing that we didn't discuss is because we love added revenue streams, James and Maxcien, we love having businesses under our belt that we constantly like to add monies to or build partnerships in that space. You guys actually show others how to do what you do and create a business out of this thing for themselves also.
Yes.
Right? So talk a little about that.
We tell people two monies don't fight. Okay? The dollar that I might make with MD Wealth Fortress and the money that I may make with Team Fergie financial literacy stuff, they're just going to come together and fold up nicely together. They're not going to be fighting against each other. It's going to blend in to accomplish what we wanted to accomplish.
Oh yeah,
because
but
you
I
have
like
choices, and you want to be able to make multiple streams of income, not just one income. So we normally say, if you want to make multiple streams of income, why not join us on a campaign? Because we are on a campaign actually to educate, help us educate the 30 million persons, or people that we on a campaign to educate. And in so doing, and so educating them, you will be able now to make multiple streams of income, and you will be able to increase your cash flow.
Yes.
And you'll have a business.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Talk about how you help them get started in this business.
Well, what we do is we'll set up an appointment with anyone that wishes to see. We'll give you a call, set up an appointment at a time that's convenient for you. We'll allow you to watch a 15, 20-minute overview and share some things with you. We'll also give you a financial checkup. What a lot of people do is they go to the doctors every year to get a physical checkup, but various reasons cause them not to want to get a financial checkup. Debt, not educated on their finances. There are many reasons, so we won't do it. But we'll give you a financial checkup. We also have workshops for you, which I like to remind people is free. Someone say that with me. Say free.
Free.
Yeah, because we like free stuff, we love free stuff. So we have free workshops to help educate people and everything. So this is how we practically do it. We allow you to become a part of the campaign where you can make multiple streams, as my wife say. And I'm going to end it with this. She could tell you anything else. Full time in this business is not 40 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
20 hours a month.
That's full time.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. That's
Full
beautiful.
time.
Yeah, but every time I call you guys are either in South Korea or Japan or Hawaii or with 20 hours a week. How you guys traveling all over the world like that?
Well, the company is basically a travel agency as well. We work hard, but we play harder.
Good.
So come September, we will be going to Poland.
See what I mean?
So every year, the company puts on a super trip. And so let's say if you qualify, meaning you hit a certain amount of points with a certain amount of campaigners, the company, you could be reimbursed up to $6,000. And so actually your trip would be paid for. And you travel like I don't, they roll out the red carpet for you, let me put it that way.
Now watch this. I understand that there's such thing as a 5-star, right? Mm-hmm. But have you ever heard of a 5 diamond?
No.
Okay. I see Mark is saying yes.
Okay.
There's such thing called a 5 diamond. And when you travel with WFG, WSB, you're traveling 5 diamond. Okay. You're staying in top tier hotels. You're eating in top tier. We went to Egypt. And because we went to Egypt now, WFG, with over 5,000 people, WSB managed to let them, however you want to call it, shut down the pyramids so that we could have dinner under the stars.
Oh, that's special. That's special.
Now, you can't get that traveling with 2, 3 people or your family of 6 or something. But now when you're traveling with 5,000 people, it's a completely different scenario. We went to Hawaii with what, 9,000?
Over 8,000.
Over 8,000 people, and they managed to shut down stuff just for us.
Excellent. I like shutting down stuff just for us.
Yeah. You see, so when you become a part of that campaign, you're not only getting paid, and I'm just going to, if my wife will let me.
Go ahead.
When we went to South Korea, we ended up getting 3 checks. I was sitting at the banquet table taking pictures of my checks, depositing them into the bank at that time.
Man,
That's
look
right.
here. That's
And the
beautiful.
main encore, entree did not even come yet, but my checks were deposited.
James and I have a backstory. He laughed when we shared that he liked my contract, but the contract that we're talking about personally is the contract between husband and wives. In that, those of us who've been married on here for a while, we love the fact that we see husband and wives working together. And a lot of times, sometimes a spouse would then make a decision that impacts the other one. And sometimes, whether you make that in haste, sometimes that other partner have to nudge you. And because they travel so often, I was going to the mentorship group in Atlanta, and I was talking and telling James and Maxine about it. James jumped up and said, "Oh, Dave, you leaving tomorrow? Oh, good. I come in with you." Now, I didn't think anything of it. I said, "Man, that sounds good, James. Be by my house, blah, blah, blah." So as we started to talk, and he's saying what he wanted to do and where he wanted to go and show me in Atlanta and all this other stuff, I'm thinking to myself, now I knew what it took in order for me to schedule the trip to go to Atlanta for myself. And I knew I had to jump through some loops. How could this person be married for so long and his wife sitting right there and allow him to jump through them same loops? So I wanted to figure out what kind of contract he had, because maybe I needed to review my spousal agreement contract with my spouse to see if I could implement or add anything into that contract. So anyhow, as we're going along, and I hear Maxine say nothing. I say, "James, you sure this gonna be all right?" Say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, man, this gonna be all right." Then all of a sudden I heard that nice voice. He think it's going to be all right, DeVaughn, but he have four things here that gonna take him a week to finish. He ain't gonna be able to make that run. I said, now I feel better, because now reality steps in. And that's exactly what it takes in this financial game. In relationships, someone is always going to have this star to the moon vision. And the realist is always going to have to come in and say, "You know what? Pump the brakes. This, and this is already scheduled." So I was happy to see that. And as I go around the country and as we get into our groups, I see that in other families as well, especially the ones that are constantly communicating about finances and getting ahead. So I always like to test the waters about what those relationship contracts look like so that I could either add to mine or subtract. Pastor Stuart, I see you have a question. Go ahead.
I just want to ask a question to the to James Dam. What's the starting price to if I want to open up an account with them? What's the minimum I can put in, or what's the maximum?
Well, if you would like an IUL, we would actually have to sit down with you, and we give you a scenario that is comfortable for you. But we also remind you that as we get older, the cost, the COI, cost of insurance, goes up.
Yeah, I know that's based on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes up according to your age. This is why we do our best to encourage families to start early, to start younger. Now, there are some people who can't, and we do our best to help them structure something that is built for them. And that is why we would have to sit down with you. But the minimum is what you're comfortable with. Let's say now you're 40 years old. It would be very difficult to start an IUL now with $100. And we have people who want to do that. It's impossible.
So what if older than 40 years old. But I want to, so if I want to put a certain amount in that IUL,
That's why
how
we
much?
have to sit down with you,
Still have to sit
actually,
down.
because with everything is geared towards you, and so we don't want to actually discuss anything, in the midst of other people. So because everything is private to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because we act as fiduciary, we have to make sure that we actually go in according to the HIPAA law, and that we actually protecting your interests as well.
So,
Yes.
so
We
what's
work
the
very hard to get our license, and we don't want the regulators to take our money flow.
so James and Maxine, at what age is the maximum age you can have an IUL?
In the state of Florida, at age 74.
Okay,
74 is the cutoff age in the state of Florida.
Okay.
good.
And at
Okay.
74, we will run that for you up to what, 82?
Yes.
Yeah, 82.
Cool. Okay.
You see,
Okay.
so you'll be paying for that amount of time. But also, as I said, we have a lot of products, and we give the client what is best for them and what they could afford. We're not trying to bankrupt anybody's pocket or nothing. We're not trying to get money off of just people who can't afford IULs or whatever. We give the client what they can afford and what they need.
And if I do, okay, I have a grandson, but he doesn't live in the United States, and he don't have a Social Security. Do he need to have a Social Security to have an IUL?
No.
Okay.
Where does he live, may I ask? Canada?
The Bahamas.
In the Bahamas? Okay. Well, we have family members in the Bahamas as well. Once they come over, we can write them up. Okay.
Okay.
We
Okay.
have some of our children were born in all our kids except the last one was born in the Bahamas, and all of them have IULs.
Okay.
Once they come here, we can write them up and get everything taken care of for them, and then they could go back home and just enjoy.
And that's not only the Bahamas, other countries. Let's say if you have family members in other countries and they're visiting the United States, while they're here, they can be enrolled in our product while they visit
Okay.
the United States.
So I'll try to do that for my grandson when he's here for the summer then.
Okay.
All right. So
Well,
I
you
will
can
get,
speak with Dr. Dames and get our number. We can,
I definitely
come to
will.
you. We could come to you. We could do Zoom. We could do so much. Just to let you know that my wife and I, we are also licensed in about 8, 9 states. So, space is not a problem for us. We can do business almost anywhere in the United States as well as Canada.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. Well, we know James and Maxine, they busy folks. James, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. However, we want to leave you with the last word. Anything that you guys wanted to cover that you feel that we didn't cover?
Well, first of all, I think that some of the questions that someone might have is, when can I start one? I might be over 30 or 40. I'm not 15 days old. When is the best time to start one? And my answer to that would be now. Okay, now. Even as a pastor, I tell people, I say, now is the acceptable time. You see, so now would be that acceptable time. Don't wait, because waiting, you end up paying more. And in that scenario, you might can't sustain that. So now.
And I just want to say, if people find themselves not being able to have the money or the resources actually to start an IUL or to do what they want to do, that's why we encourage them, to
Become a campaigner.
To join the business, and you have your own business, and you're not working by yourself. You're not by yourself, because we hold your hand every step of the way and we help you. And not only us, but you have other people around who will assist you, in doing this business. That's one thing that I find out with WSB. They are very instrumental in helping you, especially when you reach out for help or whatever. People are willing, to help you. We have, professors from Harvard University who are in this business, and even though they were making like about $1 million a year, they still, become a part of this business, because in this business you have flexibility, and you're not on pressure, and have to go through all of the stress and everything. This business is stress-free, and you get to travel with your families and everything. And this, we call this a family business, because you travel with your family and you're able to enjoy life.
Just to let you know, see, joining the campaign, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself.
That sounds like what we like to hear. And we're going to end it right there for our YouTube session. We want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Anytime. Those of you who want James and Maxcien information, it will be in the description below. If you like what you hear, please join us again. Please subscribe, please share, please like the videos, and we'll see you on the next one.